What made the situation unnameable was that everything that had happened to my body until that point had happened in secret.
28-ish days, so true. Womb wisdom old and new. 28-ish days, so true.
Welcome to the 28-ish podcast, where hormones, femtech, and womb wisdom come together with daily life. Here, we share and celebrate your stories. Through the lens of menstrual cycle awareness, we get into the impactful work being done in these fields and the vibrant lives being shaped by this knowledge. Join us as we uncover how understanding our cycles can transform our bodies and our world. I'm your host, Carrie McKinnon, and if you've got a story to share with us, get in touch at www.28ish.com.
So we're back with another submission from the Menarche Zine. This is the longest story that we included in the first edition, and it can be found on pages 5 to 7. The author is named Gathegu, and this story represents a Menarche experience in the US and Kenya, although not in Kenya. Kenya is definitely a relevant character in the story. Let's begin. It was the summer of 1984. Along a stretch of Highway 85. We were returning from New Jersey on a family trip to visit the Presbyterian family that sponsored my father to study theology in Atlanta. I don't recall the time of day or mile along 85 South when my period started. I don't remember any body sensations, nor did I have or remember a heart-to-heart conversation with my mother about the unwanted visit. I don't remember how I secretly alerted my mother in the passenger seat. The shame I felt was palpable. I didn't want my father to know, but I couldn't figure out how my mother and I could get him to stop without an explanation. What made the situation unnameable was that everything that had happened to my body until that point had happened in secret. There was secretly surviving being sexually molested as a young girl in our home in Kenya, a casualty of Christian generosity. I had lived in an unspoken world, in a culture that cherishes obedience to God and parents more than genuine connection. My own internalized prison of shame and guilt didn't prepare me for what happened on this journey to womanhood. My oath of silence, coupled with culturally and religiously taboo conversations about our body parts and what they do, didn't leave me with words to formulate my words. I had no words. The trip north began with much anticipation and excitement. My father drove a brown Nova. When it all came down, I was packed like a sardine next to my siblings in the back seat of his two-door sedan. I couldn't get out inconspicuously, so that my mother could clean me at a random gas station, unkempt bathroom, in an unmemorable and foreign southern town. I don't know how I alerted my mom to my blood-soaked pants. What would she do? What could I say or do? And would I be okay? I was horrified. I can remember that I had on these white pants with floral patterns and a mix-match shirt with different patterns. Looking back, it was very notably very unfashionable, Kenyan. I don't know whether I tapped my mother on her shoulder or whispered in her ears. It is more likely that I was so embarrassed that I started to cry, which was my survival strategy when I got overwhelmed. I recall feeling scared, afraid, embarrassed, and mostly ashamed because I didn't know what had happened and my father was there. The unclean bathroom was located outside the gas station to the side. I was grateful to not be paraded in front of strangers. My mother washed my blood-soaked pants in the sink while I changed. I think she gave me a wad of toilet paper to soak up the blood until we could get something else. My experience was memorable because it was unexpected and horrible. by Gathegu. Thank you, Gathegu, for your submission. Thank you for your wonderful story. The artwork featured in the zine is just quite simply the car driving along. This was one of the more powerful and sobering stories, and that kind of darker side of what it can feel like to experience that kind of shame when we are unprepared and are already coping with trauma at that age, and the huge impact that our first period can have on us. So again, thank you for submission, Gathegu, and Menarche Zine. Please go to 28ish.com. Let us know your story. Let us read your story. Include your voice with it as well. We want to hear from you. We want to do as many of these as we can, and not just about your first period, but it could also be your experience through menopause, or maybe your period coming back after a pregnancy, or even just a regular like cycle experience that you want to share with us. We would love to feature you. Thank you.